Welcome back to Big Board. So I usually grab a digital copy of this magazine just because storage space and all the rest of it, and I'll read it on my Kindle or on a notebook or something like that. Put it in portrait mode. But this edition, I figured that I would grab it because it had a little mini or light game in it, and we're going to talk about that in a second. And so this time today, I have the real copy, the real McCoy, as they say, which makes filming a lot easier too. Because usually when I cover magazines and what's in them, if they're digital, I've got to do screen caps or screen recording and all that sort of stuff. All right, so War Diary. Now I'm going to preamble the coverage of the magazine. Actually, you know what? I'll leave it to the end. That way you won't get pissed off till the end. Right. So, issue 29, a detailed overview of the Battle of Iwo Jima, which is well done. It's a nice little history there. And if you're unfamiliar with the battle, the details, you've only read some of the sort of surface level accounts, I think this would be a nice primer for you, and you might want to potentially buy some books on the back of that, which I think is one of the great things about magazines and wargaming and all the rest of it, is that it leads us into more books and new books and more reading and more learning, which is a lovely thing. Obviously, Jose Neva's game, there's some designer notes in here. We're going to look at that. The Strange Road to Mortain. Now, this is an interesting little article, and I'm wondering if it's going to be, I need to actually look at the article again to see if it's going to be a multi-part story. It looks like it is, part one. So we'll see how that plays out. Paul does some lovely writing. He's got a clever turn of phrase, and I enjoy what he has to say, generally speaking. So it's nice to have his narrative approach to history tied into a war game and using the war game as an example of what went down. Next article covers Bulge. Now this is interesting. Trevor, I really like Trevor as a person. I haven't enjoyed his smaller C3I magazine games very much. I just have struggled with the abstraction in them. However, this Bit of Woods counterfactual scenario is really, really interesting and is also applicable to other games other than just Bit of Woods. So enjoyed reading that a lot. Flow of the Battle. This looks like it's going to be a series of articles, and we'll see what happens with that. I hope it's going to be a series of articles. I'm not a huge fan of Zucker's combat system and all the rest of it in the NLB series. It just strikes me as a bit clunky. So it is what it is. And there's an interview here and some other bits and pieces. So let's get into it. So some nice artwork, of course, that always makes the article pop a little bit. Fantastic read on the situation and what went on and the details. Very, very well done. And it's a long article as well, as you can see. It only cracks in at, I think that's going to be 2, 4, 5, 6. So let's call it 5.5 pages. Then the game. So now, Jose's done a nice little job with this light version of the game, and I believe I will have to capture the full version of it when it is released. As you can see, this is the hex. Let's zoom in here a little bit and take a closer squiz. This is going to be the hex encounter version of the game, and this is the final version of the game for the print and play deal. I enjoyed the writing on this. This is great. He really does take Rommel and Cluj and Rundstedt to task. It's pretty good. He does it in a quite humorous way too. So it's well done. Enjoyed this. Now, in fact, I got to be honest. I have not. You know what? the font changed. I must have ran out of room. Look, there's a larger font here, smaller font here. Or is that, oh no, this is the footnotes. Oh my goodness, look at all the footnotes. Okay, I had a moment, I had a moment there. So, I hadn't quite finished this article. I'm up to around about here. So I will finish that off, but and a couple of footnotes that I do want to read, and there are some nice books in here that are referenced as well. And I said Trevor Bender's article, he gives you a way to actually solo out some of this as well with a little solo bot sidebar here. Some specific rules for Bitter Woods for soloing, and then details on how the SS should be handled and whatnot, and putting the mechanized units first in this what-if scenario. So it all works out real well, very nicely done. Now, this is actually just an ad here, but interesting. I'm curious about Armada here, see what that's going to be about, actually. I may have to dig into that a little bit. I recall playing one, it must have been an old SBI game, and it may have been called Armada, actually, or maybe it was Conquistadors, I don't know. But me and my buddy played it a bunch. We pretty much wore that game out. Worked out all the hacks on it and laughed at all the stupidity of it as kids, even realizing that it was pretty ahistorical at the time. Anyway, but it has a soft spot for me. All right, Francisco's writing here is quite interesting, and I like the style of the writing. I may not necessarily agree with a lot of the sort of the theory behind it, but I must respect he's obviously a diligent student of Napoleonic era warfare, and so I got to take my disagreement with a grain of salt. Excuse me while the dog finishes scratching. Is that okay there, buddy? Are we good? That's great. You shake that hair wherever you like. All right. So, and this is a long article, right? And fairly detailed. Talks about some of the options and gameplay and whatnot, and how that sort of filters out into the reality of the battle and all the rest of it, with a pleasing, oh yes, NLB is the best at the end, right? Okay. Now, I have not read Hans's article here yet. I would like to do that. Have not had a chance to get to it. And here's this boxed edition of Iwo Jima that's coming from Neva Games. A company that I have played, I think, a couple of their games, but not extensively, and have not seen much more from them since I played the first small handful. So curious to learn more about them as a yet another innovator in the from the European market. And then some short, this is actually over. This is actually not, I almost said short reviews, but this is just the interview questions. Then Stalingrad, Verdun on the Volga gets a quick review from Mike not from Mike Ranella. Who did these? It'll be at the end of the article, but this is a Mike Ranella game. Yeah, Michael Stoltz covers that bad boy. And there's an ad for Lock and Load Publishing. Very nice. Now, let's have a quick look at Iwo Jima. So I've read the rules. You've got 20 counters. And you've got a nice little map. It's going to be a very challenging solitaire game. There will be some player agency involved. You're going to have to work out who to attack and where to attack and what assets to use when you attack. There's challenges all round for the player. It is not, you are not sitting there rolling the dice for the AI per se, except when the Japanese counterattack, of course. And that's it. It's a super slick little bad boy. There's I'm not even going to call it. Saying it was 11 pages of rules would be a massive lie. It's probably more like 2. Pretty straightforward stuff. It's all good, and I think it's going to be cute. And we'll give it a run for its money. Looks like this might have been printed by Blue Panther. as my guess. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm going to say that's what it is, and you can argue with me later. All right. Well, excuse me. I'm going to finish my coffee. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Roll dice.